Here's something most fans overlook. John Wick kills 439 people across 4 films. That's not just a body count, that's a physiological impossibility for anyone without superhuman recovery. Your muscles would be shredded from recoil. Your hearing would be destroyed from gunfire. And the cumulative impact of hand-to-hand combat would leave you with brain damage that no amount of training could prevent. But the killing is just one piece. In this video, we'll break down the physical toll of John Wick's combat style, the reality of his injuries, and what constant violence actually does to the human body. So what happens when you try to live as the world's most efficient assassin? John Wick is presented as the pinnacle of human capability, a legendary hitman so skilled that his mere name inspires fear across the criminal underworld. In the films, he survives falls that would shatter bones, walks off gunshot wounds, and fights through injuries that would hospitalize anyone else. He's called Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, and the movies sell him as something beyond human limits. The appeal is obvious. You'd be the most dangerous person in any room, skilled with every weapon, feared by everyone. But the moment you examine what his lifestyle actually demands, the fantasy crumbles. John Wick's reputation comes from years as an assassin for the Tarasov crime family, working under the High Table, a council of crime lords that governs the underworld. He was so effective that Vigo Tarasov gave him an impossible task to earn his freedom: kill all of Vigo's rivals in a single night. John succeeded, which tells you everything about his lethality. But that success came at a cost the films barely acknowledged. Decades of killing, constant physical trauma, and a body pushed past every reasonable limit. The movies show him winning. Reality would show him broken. Quick pause, if this kind of analysis interests you, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Let's start with the most obvious issue: shooting. John Wick fires thousands of rounds across the films. In John Wick Chapter 4 alone, he fires over 400 shots. Every single one generates recoil, a force that slams back in your hands, wrists, shoulders, and spine. Professional shooters know this. Firing a 9mm handgun generates around 5 pounds of recoil force per shot. That doesn't sound like much until you realize John Wick often dual wields, meaning both arms absorb that impact simultaneously, hundreds of times per fight. Your wrists would develop stress fractures. Tendons would tear from repetitive strain. The muscles in your forearms would break down faster than they could repair. Shotguns are worse. John Wick uses them frequently, and a 12-gauge shotgun produces about 30 pounds of recoil per shot. In John Wick Chapter 2, during the Rome Catacombs fight, he fires a shotgun repeatedly while moving. Each shot compresses your spine, strains your shoulders, and batters your skeletal structure. Do that for 10 minutes straight, and you're looking at herniated discs and rotator cuff injuries that end careers. Then there's rifle recoil. In Chapter 3, John uses an AR-15 during the Continental Shootout. Those rifles generate sharp, rapid recoil with every shot. Fire in full auto bursts like he does, and the cumulative impact becomes a jackhammer effect on your body. Your shoulder would bruise, then swell, then develop tissue damage that makes lifting your arm excruciating. The movies show John walking away from firefights without a scratch. Reality would show him with arms so damaged he couldn't hold a coffee cup, let alone another gun. Guns are loud, not movie loud, actually physically damaging loud. A 9mm handgun produces around 160 decibels at close range. Anything above 140 decibels causes immediate hearing damage. John Wick fires guns indoors, in tight hallways, inside cars, and in enclosed concrete spaces where sound reflects and amplifies. In the first John Wick film, the Red Circle nightclub fight happens in a crowded club with music blaring. John's in that enclosed space. Each shot would rupture eardrums, cause permanent tinnitus, and destroy the delicate hair cells in the inner ear that allow you to hear. There's no recovering from that. Once those cells die, they're gone. The worst part, John never wears hearing protection. Not once across 4 films. By the end of the first movie, he'd be functionally deaf. By the end of the 4th, he wouldn't hear anything except a constant ringing that never stops. Communication would become nearly impossible. Situational awareness, critical for any fighter, would collapse. You'd be operating in a muted, distorted world where threats could approach unheard. Professional soldiers and shooters wear ear protection for this exact reason. John Wick doesn't have that luxury in the middle of a fight. which means his hearing is being destroyed with every trigger pull. John Wick doesn't just shoot people. He fights them hand to hand with a brutal efficiency that looks incredible on screen but would destroy your body in reality. Punching someone in the face or head is one of the worst things you can do to your hands. The human skull is dense bone. Your knuckles are not. Boxers wrap their hands and wear padded gloves specifically to prevent fractures. John Wick punches people barehanded, repeatedly, often hitting skulls and jaws directly. Each impact would fracture metacarpals, the bones in your hands, and damage the small joints in your fingers. In John Wick Chapter 3, during the knife fight in the armory, John gets thrown into glass cases, slammed into concrete walls, and hit with blunt weapons. Every impact creates micro tears in muscle tissue, bruises organs, and risks internal bleeding. The body can handle some of this, but not repeatedly. Bruised kidneys don't heal in a day. Cracked ribs don't stop hurting because the fight moves on to the next scene. Then there's the head trauma. John gets hit in the head constantly. Punched, kicked, thrown into walls, slammed onto floors. Each impact causes your brain to collide with the inside of your skull. That's a concussion. Multiple concussions lead to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, a degenerative brain disease that causes memory loss, confusion, aggression, and eventually dementia. Fighters, football players, and anyone subjected to repeated head trauma develop CTE. John Wick's head takes more impacts in one film than most athletes experience in a season. By the fourth movie, he'd be showing symptoms: slurred speech, memory problems, difficulty thinking clearly. The sharp tactical mind that makes him dangerous would be deteriorating with every fight. John Wick falls a lot. He gets thrown downstairs, out of windows, off buildings, and onto concrete repeatedly. The human body is not designed for that. In John Wick Chapter 2, he falls down the stairs at the Continental during a fight with Cassian. It's played for dramatic effect, but falling down a full flight of stone stairs would fracture vertebrae, crack your skull, tear ligaments, and cause spinal cord damage. You don't just get up from that and keep fighting. You get up, if you're lucky, and spend months in physical therapy. The worst fall happens in John Wick Chapter 3. John falls off a building, hits a fire escape, then crashes through scaffolding before slamming into the pavement below. The movie shows him limping away with some bruising. Reality would show a shattered pelvis, broken legs, internal bleeding, and organ rupture. That's not a survivable fall without immediate surgical intervention. Falls kill people. The impact forces involved when a human body hits a solid surface from height are enormous. Bones break, organs tear, and blood vessels rupture. John Wick treats falls like minor inconveniences. Your body would treat them like catastrophic trauma. Between films, time passes. John Wick gets some rest, some medical attention, and then he's back to full capacity. That's not how recovery works. Muscle tissue takes weeks to heal after serious strain. Broken bones take months. Ligament tears can take a year or more to fully recover, and they often never return to full strength. Nerve damage can be permanent. Brain injuries accumulate and worsen over time. John Wick doesn't get months to recover. He gets days, sometimes hours before the next fight begins. In Chapter 3, he's immediately thrown into combat after the events of Chapter 2. His body never gets the time it needs to heal, which means every new injury stacks on top of unhealed damage from the last fight. This is called cumulative trauma, and it's why professional fighters have limited careers. The body can only take so much before it breaks down completely. John Wick's career spans decades. His body would be a patchwork of scar tissue, chronic pain, and permanent damage that no amount of training could overcome. Even if your body somehow survived, your mind wouldn't. Killing 439 people doesn't just happen without psychological consequences. John Wick lives in constant life or death situations. The hypervigilance, the nightmares, the inability to relax, those aren't optional. They're the brain's response to sustained trauma. The films hint at this. John is clearly damaged, isolated, and struggling, but they don't show the full weight of what that life does to your mental health. You'd be unable to trust anyone, unable to form connections, unable to exist in normal society without constant fear and paranoia. That's not strength, That's survival at the cost of your humanity. So could you handle being John Wick?
I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Physically, you'd be deaf, brain damaged, and crippled by cumulative injuries within the first film. Smash that like button, subscribe if you want more reality versus fiction breakdowns, and comment which character's lifestyle you want me to analyze next. Your suggestion might be the next video.